It's time to go beyond the headlines, cause I don't put in overtime just so I can headline. Okay, now it's Fox Sports, I'm live with Renee. Going hard every day, sports rapping every play. Different segments for your favorites, coming at you daily with positive vibes. Yeah, we some game changers. Basketball, football, soccer, with different interviews. You never know who may pop up. Listen, only on Beyond the Headlines. This is Beyond the Headlines. Only on Beyond the Headlines. This is Beyond the Headlines. Only on Beyond the Headlines. This is Beyond the Headlines with Renee Washington.
It is time for our positive vibes only segment here on Beyond the Headlines with Renee Washington. So joining us from Dallas, Texas, we've got orthopedic surgeon Dr. Matthew Igbinigie. I knew I was going to stumble on it. Yep. Igbinigie.
You got it.
How are you? Welcome.
You got it. I'm good.
I totally psyched myself out on your last name. Darn it. Dr. Matthew Igbinigie, what's going on in Dallas right now? And how are things around COVID-19 and also just the social injustice that we're dealing with, the civil unrest, all that's going on in society? What's been going on in the southern part of the country in Dallas?
Yeah, well, Dallas is going well. We still got protests going. Unfortunately, COVID is on the rise. My hospital is pretty much full. But luckily, in terms of social injustice, I think Dallas is still pushing strong. They just named a street after one of the guys who were slain here. So it's amazing.
Yes. And something that I've really caught on to for you on social media is the fact that you were and other doctors that you are friends with were pushing this concept of, as a Black person in America, especially as a doctor for you, you are feared in a hoodie or hated in a hoodie and loved in scrubs. And you're in a different aspect for all that's going on around COVID and even Black Lives Matter movement. You know, you have a unique perspective that you're bringing as a doctor that on one end is directly working with COVID-19. And on the other end, in terms of civil rights movement, you know, you are someone that's out fighting and helping to save lives. I mean, you're doing surgeries, you're doing a lot. So I'm definitely curious to know, you know, what really got you motivated for you and your colleagues to be more in the forefront of promoting these concepts of the diversity in the medical field, and also just to really take you guys seriously as Black Americans and also as doctors that are working in so many areas that we're fighting in right now in our country.
Yeah, I think where it came from is something that every Black professional deals with. And we all know about imposter syndrome, the feeling that you don't belong in a certain environment, feeling that you're only there because of some form of what am I trying to say? Affirmative action, that you're there to fill a quota. And unfortunately, you feel like it's always an uphill battle, that you have to prove yourself, or you notice that people second guess what you do often. And after I saw all my brothers and sisters being killed, essentially for being profiled, I realized that in a way I'm profiled. And I think people think that when you get to a certain point, no matter what you look like, you're immune to this. And sadly, a lot of people that look like me pursue certain careers because they think they can just break past that degree of racism and discrimination. But after some things I've experienced in my environment, I realized that, you know, although many people, lay people, may respect me because of what I do and what I look like, I realized that maybe people that I work with don't. And that's the development of that post. Hated in a hoodie, but hero in scrubs. Yet hated in a hoodie is just to the lay people, but, you know, in a sense, you can also be hated in scrubs.
Wow. That is very deep. And honestly, what you're saying is it relays across so many different levels of and that message on so many different levels, because for one, I know even as people were talking about when this first got started, separating your job from what's going on in society, do you speak up? I know for me as a journalist, do you speak up? You know, how much do you speak up? But the concept that I enjoyed about that post was, if I'm not sitting in front of a camera, if I'm not on TV, if I'm not on a screen, and someone was to pass me walking down the street, their first thought wouldn't be, she's a sports reporter. In your case, if you're walking in everyday clothes, they're not going to walk by you and say, he's an orthopedic surgeon. You know, it's not like we're wearing these labels on our faces to the fact that people are going to associate that with us on first impression. The first thing they see is a Black man and a Black woman. So, for that reason in itself, your post really hit home, because it's like, when we take off our professional hats, we're still just Black people in America. And that's the first thing people are going to see. And then also you're talking about what you're dealing with in your industry in itself, where there's not as much diversity. And I definitely want to know more about that. As you're working, there are other Black people in the medical field, other professionals that I see you guys are constantly pushing each other and helping to promote each other to show the diversity in the industry. I'm curious to know more about that. What's really been on your end, and you don't have to go into deep stories or anything like that, but how have you been helping to expand and bring more diversity to the medical field, which has now become another job in addition to what you already do every day?
I'd say the foundation of my approach and my enlightenment towards all of this is a Bible verse that says, where there's a lack of vision, the people perish. And the way I see it as it relates to me as the Black man or any young man behind me that looks like me, is that where there's a lack of a vision, your dreams perish. And when you can't see someone in a position that you want to be in, it discourages you from filling that dream. And I think with me and my colleagues, what we've been trying to do is just specifically to our position, we try to share our story and just let people see our story, let them see that we're normal, that we like to have fun, that we can bridge pop culture into a professional environment, not forsaking the essence of professionalism, but to just show them the bridge between their reality and my reality, and to encourage them to pursue whatever career that they want to. I'm just telling my story, so hopefully it'll encourage people who are discouraged towards medicine to pursue medicine. But the hope is that everyone who looks like me, who's discouraged by a social environment, to pursue and to be who they're supposed to be, first, hopefully alive, and then two, a career of their choice.
Yes. And I like the way you use your social media presence, Instagram, TikTok, to really kind of put a human side to who you are, and that's something that in watching your videos and your posts, they're entertaining, they're engaging, they're relatable, they're interactive, and they do kind of allow others to see someone that looks like them. And I know that's a big thing when you're growing up. And like, I know even I was talking to someone and it hit me. I don't know how many people in my family are lawyers, doctors, holding these prestigious jobs and careers. How many people have a medical degree or a doctorate degree? I know there's a number of us that have master's degrees like myself, but not enough. We don't often, as kids growing up, have a role model to look up to in these fields. So you're also not only, showing yourself in that light as a from a human interest side, but also just to be able to connect and show kids and whoever else is following you on your growing social media presence that there are people that look just like them and are succeeding. So, I'm definitely interested to hear more about how you've kind of taken on that role with your colleagues to continue to put out these entertaining videos. Are you the one behind all these? Like, who's the one that's coming up with the concepts that are genius? And you've got some editing skills in there and stuff too, but might have some production work in your future. But I mean, just who is coming up with these great ideas? I need to know more.
Well, I'll have to start with its inception.
Okay.
Everyone knows what the Don't Rush Challenge is. And that is the first time I found out the idea of a collaboration where you get a group of people and pursue a project. So that was the first thing I did, and it was a Don't Rush Challenge for Black physicians. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, but fortunately, the COVID-19 pandemic hit the city, the nation, the world, and my work schedule got a little bit lighter. So I had more time to think about stuff. And, growing in popularity of TikTok, I began to watch all the TikToks, and I would see people that look like me or, people that don't look like me, but I'd see really cool ideas. And the first thought is, what if I could twist this to show a Black doctor in their shoes? And that is pretty much where they come from. That's where they began from. Now, I make my own ideas. I try to think of, okay, what are other ways to convey who I am in a fun way, through music, through dance, through something that is relatable to people, but also conveys who I am. So
Mm.
if you ask, yes, I do most of the editing, I do most of the ideas, and I recruit people who are willing to do these things.
I love it. I love it. It is very, as you mentioned, it's just nice to see. It's refreshing, and especially around COVID-19. And then as we watch George Floyd's murder and everything that's transpired to really grow and have the conversation continue around civil rights. Both of these areas. That's one of the most impressive things is you are directly affecting and impacting both of these areas. And I'm definitely curious to know more about how COVID-19 specifically has impacted your workload. You mentioned it was a little lighter, but
Yeah.
how has it impacted your workload and your daily routine that you have in the medical field?
Orthopedic surgery is about 60 to 70% elective surgery, which means you choose to do it when you want to do it. The other half is emergent, urgent surgeries where you don't have a choice. You need to do it or else your life will be detrimentally affected. So with this pandemic and the spread of the disease, many hospitals are shutting down elective procedures, meaning procedures that you wanted to do. Sorry, you can't do that right now. Therefore, it translates to most of my work we can't even do, even though we want to do. So most of our time is focused on just trauma. People aren't out driving and partying anymore. Well, some people are, but not as many.
It
So
shouldn't
therefore,
be.
I mean, I don't know who that is, but anyway, but it's translating into more free time because we have less cases, less elective surgery, less people to round on in the hospital. So we have more time to either do whatever is personal to us, study, do research, and things like that.
Yeah, I definitely am curious even to know, what inspired you to go the medical route? Why did you decide to get into medicine and specifically become an orthopedic surgeon? What led you down that path in your life?
I always wanted to be an engineer. I was the guy who broke apart the vacuum, the computer, and fixed it back. I went to Texas A&M in hopes of doing that. I actually had some discouragement there that I can go into on another segment, but it led me towards seeing the body as a machine, just like any other machine. However, I think the body has a soul. And in that, pursuing the career of medicine, I felt that I could apply my passions and my interests to affect people long term, maybe eternally. And and then, of course, my freshman year of college, I fractured my pinky toe, broke my pinky toe,
What?
and
Ouch.
yeah, it sucked. Anyway, it ruined my life freshman year. However, shortly after that, I learned how the body heals bones, and I could couple what I learned in class with what I was experiencing. So I realized the how real medicine was in that way. My dad had a total hip replacement. He walked my sister down the aisle without a cane after that procedure. Beforehand, I had to buy him a cane to use to get around. So anytime I do a total hip replacement, that's who I think of. So I think of my little pinky toe, and then I think of my dad, and that's what got me into orthopedic surgery.
That's very inspirational. Wow. I mean, that's something that, as you mentioned, it allows you to be able to help others to have the opportunity to go about their lives, the fathers that are walking their daughters down the aisle, whatever it is. Maybe it's not even a milestone like that. It could just be everyday activity that you're helping them to be able to do pain-free, which is incredibly impactful. So I also, we were talking before about Creed scrub hats and your company that you are the second and 2.5 person in command. So what exactly is Creed scrub hats and what is kind of the mission and the value behind that company?
So creed, if you look at the formal definition, it means a set of people that belong to a set of beliefs. And our translation of it is we want people to convey what they stand for in a simple item. And the goal is that it is not just, it doesn't segregate or divide people, but it allows all of us to express our own creed and it's eventually hopefully become one and show that we are all one people. It started with me and another colleague at the hospital during the COVID-19 pandemic where disposable PPE is extremely short. So we found a way to make permanent PPE in a stylish fashion that conveys culture and allows people to be themselves and also show cultural appropriation. If you go
Wow.
to our if you go to our Instagram page, you'll see assortment of colors and designs, and we only have more colors and designs coming out soon.
That's awesome. Again, another opportunity given, especially what's going on around COVID-19, to help be a part of something powerful and positive and help make change in a good way. And even the subliminal messaging around, the cultural designs and things like that you have, that's something that goes a long way to help those in need be able to have those resources. So, what's next for you? It seems like you're really expanding your career even more during all that's gone on the last few months. Having a company that you're working with, being more of a media personality and having more attention on you in that way as someone that's helping to inspire others through your platform. I jokingly said it, but you're becoming like a TV personality in a sense. What's really next is you're continuing to expand beyond just being an orthopedic surgeon.
So the goal now is I'm realizing that it's important to tell your story, anyone. But I think it's important for me to share my story so that I can inspire people behind me that look like me to show that they can do whatever they want to do, and they don't have to allow people in the environment to discourage them from doing that. So I think that's one move is I'm allowing my voice to be heard, my story to be shared in hopes that other people's stories may be shared and aligned. Then after that, the hope is to of course, become the most knowledgeable, successful orthopedic surgeon I can be, so I can serve everyone, including my people that look like me. And then lastly, of course, I think I want to build a legacy, and hopefully I'll find somebody that wants to build that legacy with me, and maybe have some kids that want to propagate that legacy. But that's all I can see in my vision right now.
Super specific. Okay, well, that is incredible. And honestly, as you mentioned, you've got some short-term and some longer-term goals that you're working towards, but also just using your platform to help be a part of something bigger than you, whether it's through your future generations or just helping to inspire others to really be able to pursue whatever career path they want, especially in the medical field. So, I thank you for joining our Positive Vibes Only segment. Where can people continue to follow you more to get more on your career and also to keep in touch with what you've got going on and stay connected as you're continuing to grow in all aspects of your life?
Thank you. Is that a question or is that a statement?
Yes. Where can they follow you?
You can follow me on Instagram at doc.iggy. And then also, if you want to, on TikTok, you can look up Dr. Iggy or big_Iggy1. But if you look up Doc Iggy, Dr. Iggy, you should be able to find me.
Perfect. Well, Dr. Igbinigie, thank you so much for joining our Positive Vibes Only segment. It's been a pleasure getting a chance to talk about your career and all that you have going on, and I'm excited to see what's next for you.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor.
Of course, anytime. Thank you.